If you are applying for 2022 GKS graduate scholarship and you don't know how to check the deadline of GKS 2022 scholarship and you are worried that how and where to send your application forms, then this video is for you. So let's start. Hello viewers, I am Amar Dilavar and this is the most requested and most important video. Many students, they have contacted me personally or through my YouTube videos that how can they check the deadline of each track. For example, some students, they want to apply through embassy track and some students, they are applying through university track. So they are worried about the deadlines and they don't know that where they have to submit your documents and how they submit their documents. So in this video I will discuss these things in detail. So before the start of this video, I would like to request you, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. As you know that in GKS you can apply through two tracks. One track is embassy track and one track is university track. And the GKS deadline, it varies from embassy to embassy and university to university. There is no specific deadline for GKS scholarship. For example, if you are applying through embassy track, so Korea, they have their embassy in every country. For example, if you are applying through Pakistan, India, Bangladesh, Philippines, so you are applying through embassy track and each embassy, they have their different deadline. So you have to follow your country embassy deadline. And secondly, if you are applying through university track, and there are a lot of universities from where you choose your university, and all universities, they don't have same deadline. Every university have different deadline. So in this video I will guide you that how can you check the embassy deadline and how can you check the university deadline. So first we will start through the embassy track. For example, if you are applying through embassy track, so how can you check the deadline? How can you check the address that where you can submit your documents and how you can submit your documents? For example, if you are trying from any country in the world through the embassy track for GKS 2022 scholarship, so you have to search the name of Korean embassy in your country. For example, if any student he is applying from Bangladesh, so he have to write here Embassy of Korea in Bangladesh. So you can see here the website of Embassy of Korea in People's Republic of Bangladesh. So there is no need to go to directly to the website because it is very confusing. So you must go to the notice section. So when you open the notice section, you can see the first notice regarding the 2022 GKS scholarship for graduates degree. So if you click this notice, then you can check the deadline for Bangladesh. For example, the deadline for Bangladesh is 3rd March and you have to submit your documents by personal visit or by post email. And if you didn't download the application forms yet, you can also download the application forms from this link. And you can also find the embassy address from this link. You have to scroll down at the end of this page. So here you can see the address of Embassy of Republic Korea in Bangladesh. So this is a method by which you can find the deadline and find the address of your country. Now I will give some examples from some other countries, like for example, if you are applying for Pakistan, so there is also another easy method to find the deadline and find the address through embassy track. For example, you simply write the Embassy of Korea in Pakistan, and after writing this you have to write 2022 GKS. So it will directly open the 2022 Global Korea Scholarship link. So you have to open this link, so then you can get all the information regarding 2022 GKS. So here you can see that from Pakistan the deadline is 13th of March, and here you can also see the embassy address where you have to submit your documents. So now I will also give you example for Embassy of Korea in Philippines. So for example, if you are applying from Philippines, so you have to write Embassy of Korea in Philippines. So after writing this, I told you earlier that there is no need to go to the website, you can check from the notice section. So if you go to the notice section, you can see here 2022 Global Korea Scholarship. So you have to click this link. So after opening this link, you can check the deadline. For example, here you can see the embassy deadline in Philippines is 17th of February to 9th March, and this is the place of submission, that this is the address where you can submit your documents. I want to give you another example for Embassy of Korea in India. So if you write Embassy of Korea in India, you can see the website of Embassy of Republic of Korea in India. So here you can also go to the news section. So when you open the news section, there is first link to the 2022 Global Korea Scholarship for Graduate Degree. So if you click this link, you can check the deadline and address. Here you can see that the deadline for Indian Embassy is 9th March 2022 to 11th March, and here you can see the address where you can send documents to India. So by this method you can check the deadline and address for your country. This is a simple procedure for embassy track, that how can you check the deadline of embassy track and how can you check the address of embassy track. So now I will guide you that how can you submit your documents. So in most of the cases you have to submit your documents by post or by in person. So if you are submitting your documents by post, so choose any postal service which is common and best in your country. And please keep one thing in your mind, that if the deadline is 11th of March, so your documents must reach there on 11th of March. It doesn't mean that you have to send your documents on 11th of March and they reach there on 12th of March or 13th of March. So please keep this deadline in your mind before sending your documents, and I highly recommend you to send your documents at least 3 to 4 days before the deadline. Now I will discuss with you related the university track. As I told you earlier that every university have their separate deadline. There is no specific deadline for all of the universities. So for example, if you are applying to a specific university, you have to check the deadline of that university. So GKS, they have provided a complete list of universities with their application forms. There is a separate PDF file for each university, and I recommend you to please must go through this PDF file for the university in which you are going to apply. So for example, on screen you can see a complete list of all the universities with their name, and each university has a separate PDF file. You can download all these files from the Study in Korea website, and I have also attached the link to these files in the description box. So for example, at the top you can see that there is Dongso University. So for example, any of student he want to apply to Dongso University, so he has to open the Dongso University file. It has details about the university in both Korean language and English language. So you have to scroll down at the bottom, and here you can see that they have mentioned the deadline for this university, and the deadline of this university is 18th of March, and they have also mentioned the address where you can submit your documents. So now I will give you another example. For example, I am in Suncheon National University, and any of the student he want to apply in Suncheon National University. So from this list you have to search the name of Suncheon National University, and you open the Suncheon National University file. So here you can also see the information is available in both languages, Korean and English. So if you are applying to Suncheon University, I request you to please read all the guidelines. Don't just look at the application deadline. Instead of just looking at the application deadline and the address, I would highly recommend to read all the guidelines and all the application details in this PDF file. You can get a lot of information. For example, in Suncheon National University, they have mentioned that don't use stapler to bind your documents. Instead, use some pins or paper pins. And they have also mentioned that you must need a recommendation letter from the Suncheon National University professor before applying to the Suncheon University. So by this way you can find some additional criteria which are set by the universities. You can get all of the information from this PDF file, and you can also see the deadline of the Suncheon National University from this file. And you can see on your screen that the deadline of Suncheon National University is 18th of March. And you can also see the details of the contact person of the Suncheon National University for GKS 2022 scholarship, and you can also see the address of Suncheon National University where you have to send your documents. So by following this method you can see the deadline of each university according to your preference, and you can also see the address of that university in which you are going to apply. So now I will guide you that how can you send your documents to that university. Please keep one thing in your mind, that you cannot submit your documents through online application. You have to submit the hard copies of all your application documents by post. So the best method to send your documents is using DHL services. Don't use any other services because they are not reliable. Only DHL is reliable in case of international post, and they are very fast. They only take 5 to 7 days to send your documents from your country to Korea. And one thing you must keep in your mind, that for example, if the deadline of university is 18th of March, so your documents must reach there till 18th of March. So you have to submit your documents at least 10 days or 7 days earlier. In some cases, for example, due to COVID or some other unavoidable situations, you contact the administration office of the universities in which you are going to apply, and you request them that due to some situation my documents will reach there little bit late. So they will give you some favor. They will give you 3 to 5 days in which you can send your documents. I hope that this video will resolve all of your queries regarding deadlines and submission of documents. So please like this video. If you have any question regarding this video, please leave in the comment section. See you in next video. Take care. Allah Hafiz.